When it comes to British comedy, it's very distinctive, as I've said before, and when you line it up against American comedy, you can see the contrasts instantly. British comedy thrives on sarcasm and irony, often delivered so dryly you almost miss the joke if you're not paying attention. It's all about understatement, saying the opposite of what you mean, and, well, expecting the audience to be clever enough to get it. American comedy, on the other hand, prefers its irony like a billboard, big, loud, and obvious, with a neon punchline at the end. British stand-up often meanders through a tale, weaving jokes into anecdotes and letting the humour come from the journey as much as the punchline. The laughs, they sort of sneak up on you. So, American comics are more likely to use the setup, punchline, laugh rhythm, almost like a machine just churning out gags. It works, sure, but honestly, it feels more like efficiency than wit. Self-deprecation. Now that's a real British specialty. British comics absolutely love tearing themselves down. Eddie Izzard can, casually make a joke out of his own chaos, while Billy Connolly is able to dismantle his own life story into something that's both hilarious and, weirdly enough, strangely poignant. Americans, well, they tend to punch outward, roasting celebrities, politicians, or even the audience. Brits, they roast themselves first. Political humour in Britain is laced with venom, subtlety, and a kind of long-term cynicism that just sticks with you. It's more about exposing the rot in the system with a sly grin than throwing pies at whichever politician made the news yesterday. I mean, in America, political comedy is usually topical, focused on easy targets and last night's headlines, isn't it? It's less scalpel, more sledgehammer. When it comes to humor style overall, American comedy is about polish and delivery. Clear setup, big payoff. The British, though, it can be awkward, uncomfortable, even bleak. It embraces failure, embarrassment, and pain as comedy gold. It's rarely about triumph. It's about how badly everything goes wrong, really. These differences, really highlight the unique and often contrasting styles of British and American comedy, each with its own charm and appeal. And then you have Bottom. Let's face it, this one is hard to fit into any of these categories because Bottom isn't about sarcasm or clever wordplay or even subtle irony. Bottom is about two losers knocking 7 shades out of each other in a filthy flat. It's raw, it's grotesque, and honestly, it's the most British thing you can imagine, because it laughs at failure, misery, and violence in a way no American sitcom ever could. Welcome to the Snake Pit, where we're full of bile and venom. I'm your host, Snake Damon, and today we're diving headfirst into Bottom, the sitcom that takes squalor, violence, and desperation, and somehow makes it comedy genius. Bottom was created by Mayall and Adrian Edmondson and ran on BBC Two from 1991 to 1995. Across 3 series, it followed Richie and Edward Elizabeth Eddie Hitler, 2 unemployed, slobbish, sex-starved flatmates trying and failing to improve their lives. Every scheme collapsed into chaos. Every attempt at romance failed, and every episode escalated into cartoonish violence. It was the blackest of black comedies, spliced with the anarchic slapstick of Tom and Jerry. What really made it tick was the chemistry of Mayall and Edmondson. They'd already blown the doors off British comedy with The Young Ones and Filthy Rich and Catflap. With Bottom, they refined their formula into pure nihilism. 2 men locked in squalor, endlessly humiliating and battering one another. It didn't stop with the series. Between 1993 and 2003, Mayall and Edmondson toured 5 stage shows. These were Bottom Unchained Cruder, louder, and, honestly, more dangerous. They improvised, they broke bones, they bled on stage. The audience absolutely loved it. They also made the film Guesthouse Paradiso in 1999, a spin-off where Richie and Eddie ran a hotel next to a nuclear power plant and poisoned their guests with radioactive fish. Projectile vomiting, violence, filth. It was everything you'd expect from Bottom, with the volume, well, turned up. There was even talk of a follow-up series, Hooligan's Island, but it died in pre-production. Rick Mayall's death in 2014 put a tragic end to any possibility of revival. Richie is delusion incarnate, pompous, desperate, and sexually frustrated. He dreams of aristocracy and romance, but is trapped in poverty, virginity, and filth. Rick Mayall played him with manic energy, sweaty, twitching, over-enunciating every ridiculous line. You can't take your eyes off him. Eddie is the foil, drunk, lazy, and cruel, but somehow more likable. He revels in violence, stealing from Richie and watching him suffer. Adrian Edmondson's gift was making Eddie both monstrous and strangely charismatic. You wouldn't want to live with him, but you'd watch him from a safe distance. Together, they're Britain's ultimate double act of failure. A grotesque Laurel and Hardy for the recession era. The supporting cast, Spudgun, Dave Hedgehog, Lady Natasha and the rest, gave the show variety without ever stealing focus. Most of the chaos happened inside that flat, which became as iconic a stage as Del Boy's flat in Only Fools and Horses. As for highlights, for me, Gas from Series 1, Culture from Series 2 and Hole from Series 3 are standouts, with Hole being the best of the lot. So, Series 2 is honestly the most consistent overall, while Series 1, well, it kind of stumbles in the middle but really sticks the landing. Now, Series 3, yeah, it has some weaker entries, but it still manages some of the show's absolute finest moments. It's worth noting Bottom is, well, offensive. It's misogynistic, violent, crude, and just relentless. But that's the point, right? You're not supposed to admire Richie and Eddie. You're meant to laugh at how pitiful they are, how absurd their failures become, and how their lives are basically a never-ending loop of pain and humiliation. And here's the kicker. Shows like this just wouldn't get made today. Between DEI, ESG and, sensitivity committees, there's no chance a BBC exec would greenlight two men smashing each other with frying pans while making sex jokes. Bottom was a product of its time, post-Thatcher, early 90s Britain, where unemployment, poverty, and misery were real. People found relief in laughing at the absurdity of it all. It's also hilarious to imagine Richard, unemployed virgin, debating Alan Bistard, greedy MP. Two Rick Mayalls, two sides of the same coin, one desperate to climb society's ladder, the other ripping it apart. That's the kind of comedy crossover we'll never see, but one I'd pay good money for. The truth is, comedy like Bottom was never built to last forever. Rick Mayall and Adrian Edmondson thrived on chaos, on pushing themselves and their audience to the breaking point. That's why their shows were so explosive. They weren't just acting, they were battering each other for real, tearing through sets, improvising and risking injury night after night on stage tours. That level of raw energy can't be bottled indefinitely. It's like lightning. It strikes, it burns bright, and then it fades. Bottom was the pinnacle of their partnership, the perfect fusion of their manic energy, anarchic violence, and bleak British humour. But after 3 series, 5 tours, and a film, you could feel the creative well running dry. They'd pushed the formula as far as it could go without simply repeating themselves. It doesn't diminish what they created. In fact, it makes Bottom even more remarkable, because it caught that lightning in a bottle, even if only for a few short years. Thanks for dropping by the Snake Pit, where we thrive on untapped potential and lost opportunities. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell, like the video, and leave your opinion in the comments, where naturally I won't read them. Until next time, stay venomous.